As you can gather, by the way, welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. That's what you're listening to. I'm Jeremiah, I'm your host. And I was saying, as you can gather from that opening segment, singer, songwriter, and activist Abbey Castor's music is deeply personal, inspired by her travels and her life experiences. That opening was taken from her blog off her website. I encourage everybody to go there. Um, I took that, I stole that from her. And I just thought it was such a fascinating story. Abby's goal with her music is to share stories of mystery, magic, and wonder through her gypsy transcendental soul. I love that. The mysterious, wondrous development of Abbey Castor. That's our subject for the show today. Born in a small suburb in Pennsylvania, Abby, was deeply inspired. Abbey, like Abbey Road, was deeply inspired by the echoes of music left behind from the 60s and the 70s. Her music heroes and her free spirited nature offer us a glimpse into her adventures as a young nomad. At the forefront of Abby's music is her dedication to spiritual insight and compassion. As she grows into the world, she hopes the world will grow with her. It's a very nice sentiment. She brings to us today her new EP titled Remedy. She's here singing stories of mystery and wonder, inspired by her magical experiences, the notes ringing out like a church bell from her soul to the world. Welcome, Abbey.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Jeremiah. It's such a pleasure.
It's a pleasure and honor to have you here. I just told you off air, and I mean it. We're playing throughout the show your music today from the new EP. Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
with us, and congratulations on that. That's your debut EP. How exciting!
it
Uh,
is the debut EP. It's happened. It's happening. It's
you're
happening.
making it happen.
Mhm. Mhm. One step at a time. They say in Mexico, poco a poco.
So you do speak Spanish now.
Yeah, I do actually speak Spanish. Living in Los Angeles too, it helps because there's a massive Latino population, and I get to use it still every once in a while when I'm in restaurants. And sometimes people look at me like, "How are you? What? Wait, what? What's going on here?"
How many
So,
years total did you live there?
all in all, I think it was about 2 years. I had to go back and forth a little bit and visit family,
Mhm.
but a little over 2 years I was there.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. You're growing up in a small town in Pennsylvania. Were you inspired there? Me
you
and
know,
like like were you always like this? Were you looking for researching?
I think from a very young age, I can remember being very empathetic. I grew up quite normal, as my mom would say. She's like, "When did you stop being normal, Abby?" When I decided to pursue music and like my spiritual path, she's like, "You used to be normal. What happened to you?" Because I played sports, I was an athlete, I hung out with everybody. I was always very non-judgmental. I just wanted to talk to everybody since I was a little kid. My parents would take me to restaurants. I'd be like at the other table talking to the other families and like on the beach. And my parents would be like, "Where'd Abby go?" "Oh, she's going up to talk to like strangers to see if they want to play." Like she just disappears. Because I
That's
don't know, I
cute.
was like sociable, but growing up in Pennsylvania, I mean, there's really not a lot to do there. Cornfields and and fireflies.
You know what? That sounds like fun to me. Cornfields and fireflies.
It was
How
fun. It was
like
fun for a kid.
yeah, right? I mean, that's being a child. That sounds like a dream, childlike
Yeah.
existence. How strong was the calling of the world to you to come out and get lost in it? Like, did you feel this urge, this calling, like I've got to go when I can and get out there?
I had always dreamt about the ocean. I've always, I think, had a mermaid soul. I can remember the first time I watched a YouTube video of an Instagram influencer, like someone who's a travel blogger, and I just was like, I need to go out and see things. And once the pandemic happened, that was, I believe, an initiation from the spiritual world, because both of my grandparents died. My grandmother on my mom's side and my grandfather died within that time period. And I think that they started to communicate with me through signs and symbols, because it was kind of overwhelming, the amount of like psychic energy in my life, people that were giving me messages, and the calling to move out to Hawaii started then. And that was really what began my spiritual realization. Yeah.
Where did you live in Hawaii?
I lived on the North Shore in a really nice tree house right on Sunset Beach, you know, the iconic spot where all the surfers are. It's like it's one of the most gorgeous places in the world. I love that place so much. I miss it all the time.
You said you moved back there. Had you lived there before, or was this the first time after school that you went out there?
I moved out there a couple times. I went out there a couple times before I graduated, and then after I graduated, just trying to figure out who I wanted to be, where I wanted to be. I established a lot of relationships out there, and I fell in love with the lifestyle, with the spirit of aloha. And you mentioned the Malama Aina, which means to care for the land. And I really do believe that in some places in the world, in most places in the world, some people are more open to it in other areas, which creates, I think, more of an immediate reflective response in the environment. But the earth really does speak to us, and it's undeniable in a lot of ways, you know. In Hawaii, it is one of those very active spots where you can experience a lot of spirituality, and it's because of the culture and the people believing in it and respecting it and taking care of the land that allows for it to communicate back. So
I agree with you on that. I lived in Lahaina for 9 months, and so I know what you're talking about. It's such a beautiful, magical place there. Nature is so abundant and inspiring when you live there. From the rains that come in for a moment, to the sky, to the ocean, to the plants and the mountains. It's such a beautiful place. What a great place to start to come into yourself, to grow and figure yourself out. At what age was it? Around this time, this age, and maybe what type of circumstances led to you realizing you wanted to contribute something to the world, that you were meant to contribute something to the world?
I can remember in the period between me leaving high school and growing out of my parents' conditioning and beginning to meditate and practice yoga and be introduced to a whole array of information, I began to notice how unhealthy a lot of American traditions are today, and how much our food impacts our body, because I had not always eaten the healthiest growing up. And then once I became gluten-free, that kind of changed a lot of my lifestyle. I was no longer eating food out of boxes and prepared meals and things like that, and started to focus on my health. And I think that at one point or another, or maybe many points, because we're not always growing in a straight line, it's always like a recircling back into like many lessons in many different formats. I think I just started to outgrow the shell that formed me, and needed to find other ways of connecting to purpose and asking deeper questions about reality and about what does it actually mean to say that something is impossible? What does it actually mean to live a meaningful life? And what kind of life do I want to live? Do I want to live the life that the people around me are living?
And the answer was,
I I need more. And it was also very overwhelming. I mean, when something speaks to you in a profound way, you can't deny that. Some people do deny that. Some people spend their whole lives denying that, but I could not. I could not push it down. It was just, so in my face. It's like sign
Mhm.
after sign after thing after thing. It's like unavoidable, and then and I now at this point I understand why I had to experience those things and walk down those paths, because they're echoes of like a building block that have now created a force to be reckoned with in the universe. So put it that
That's
way.
it. You put it in a great way. It's very clear. Did something break your heart that sent you off in one of these directions and searching?
I think a lot of things broke my heart. I think watching the news perspective on my own unique reflection on reality after studying philosophy in college, after just, I don't know, interacting with information growing up. And when you're a kid, everything's so beautiful. And then, the world puts conditions on you and tells you that things are hard, and tells you how to be, tells you what to think and what you need to do in order to survive. And I was just so in denial of that in a stubborn way, because I believe in the better of people. I believe that people can change. I believe that people, um, can relearn patterns and habits and grow. And I just started to notice how certain things were making me feel and how I felt in my meditative space. And I started to notice the difference between other people's realities and mine. Because when we're looking through our eyes, I believe that we're creating a projection of an experience that comes from a source. And sometimes that source has a lot of lens. They call them rose colored glasses for a reason when we fall in love, because we lose ourselves into the projection of somebody else. Because I don't know what drives a human being to fall in love. I mean, it's we need a witness to what's going on in our lives. But more than that, it's why we're here, I think, to fall in love. Yeah.
Do you get back what you need, what you're putting out there right now that you're describing? Do you get it back enough to keep feeding that curiosity and that growth?
I think every day that I wake up, I experience a level of growth and learning, both through my mistakes and through my victories. I am a learning, growing soul. I'm always going to be willing to learn and grow. I don't know about you, but I don't know. Everybody's got to learn something. What else are you here for? To be, I don't know, stubborn, cruel victims of
I learn a lot
whatever?
by talking to somebody like you. I love that. I love this. This is why I do this. Um, um, I think your perspective is really exciting and interesting. I'm into it. What do you think makes you feel most alive? You talk about when you wake up in the morning and you've got these victories. You've grown, you've made one more step in the direction that you want to go. But what else makes you feel so alive?
Know that they say it's about the process. You got to trust the process. You got to enjoy the journey. It's not about the destination. But for me, all I can think about is the dream, the real dream that I feel like humanity deserves to be living on a daily basis. And when I lived in Hawaii, I lived on an agroforestry property where I didn't have to pay rent. Everything was, provided for by the land. I got to go and eat citrus from the fruits or cacao, and the friends and the neighbors would share different items, and everybody was, living a more communal, almost matriarchal sense life. And living in LA for a year and a half has taught me about the rugged individualism that has become America and what it takes to survive in like such a tough environment like a city, many cities. It's, you know, what I don't believe that we're meant to live in such a struggle and such a competition with each other. I really do believe that we were born free, that we were born to inherit the earth, and that we were born to share it with each other. You know, you signed up to be a soul, to be born, and to experience life in all of its riches and all of its abundances and all of its beauty and its sadness, because it's not perfect. And because it's not perfect, I think a lot of people settle for the way that things are instead of be willing to challenge themselves enough to think that it really could be different. A battle that I fought with almost everybody in my life, because I am stubborn and determined, unbridledly determined to see through the dreams that are in my heart. Everybody's given dreams for a reason, and the people that never give up on those things are the people that see them in reality. And it's about more than just music. His album Remedy is a piece of heartbreak. There's heartbreak involved. I'm a human. You know, I've chosen relationships that rip my heart out of my chest, and I've also still walked the earth with my faith and my belief that things can be really beautiful. It's a combination of my soul. You know, this is about my first project, choosing the songs that could make other people smile, make me lift off in a way that worked with the producer I was working with, and make a dream come true. And that step, you know, was a building block that now I get to reflect on as a piece of art that I made that gives me the privilege of talking with you on this show. And I think empowers me to level up myself and the people around me, because like you said in the beginning, as I grow, I want the world to grow with me. I think that people that have a voice, especially at this time, deserve to have a platform, deserve to be able to speak out, because I believe that we need real leadership. I believe that we need people that are compassionate to take the forefront of what the future will look like for humanity. Our evolution does not have room or time or the bandwidth for leaders that do not actually understand our ecosystem on planet Earth. So yeah, I'll leave that there.
No, you're a thinker. I like it. You're very thoughtful. Yeah. Do you spend a lot of time analyzing thoughts and analyzing what's coming to you? You know, what's your vision, your ideas?
I spend a lot of time working very hard to make connections with other people, share my ideas. I work for a tea company, and so I'm at farmers markets all over the Los Angeles area right now, helping people learn how herbs and tea can really help your problems in the body. I've suffered as a woman from a lot of pain. I had cysts on my body, and I healed myself with tea and different herbal remedies. And I have been noticing how impactful it can be to just talk to anybody, even just in passing. My car broke down 2 months ago, and I had to walk everywhere in LA. It took me 6 hours of traveling every day to get to work. And I work at a school. I teach at a school, and I share with kids, you know, the knowledge and the wisdom that I have in my soul. But, you know, going around all over LA, I do spend a lot of time thinking, and I put those thoughts in a letter, and I started handing out letters to people, like on the bus and passing people on the street, like, hey, I have this I have this charitable gift for you that is, a hopeful message for the future, because I don't know. I am an
I love
observer.
that.
I see things, and I am not afraid to share what's in my heart. I think that we limit ourselves by thinking that we're not worthy of just pursuing our instincts or pursuing whatever it is that we want, because we have so much fear that of what other people are going to think or whatever.
What type of reaction do you get when you hand someone a letter, a thoughtful letter that you thought about for them?
People are always shocked almost all the time, like, oh, me, like, what is this? You don't want anything from me? Also, people are like, whoa, like, are
Yeah.
you trying to get money from me? No, I don't want your money. But it's it's always very interesting to see how different people respond. But it's always usually it's received very well. The only time it was rejected, which this was very interesting, Jeremiah, I went to a gas station. I tried to give someone at the gas station the letter, and he said, no, I can't accept this. And I said, why? And he said, I can't accept this because they're watching. And he points up at the camera. And I was like, oh, Big Brother? Big Brother's watching you, so you can't accept my letter? And he was like, yeah, Big Brother. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And we can't even, I opened it up and I was like, look, it's just words. There's nothing bad in here. It's like, I can't do it. I'm sorry. People are, I'm like, are people so afraid
You
of
probably thought you
saying
were
the wrong
serving
thing?
him.
Are
Probably thought
people
you
so,
were serving him for court or something.
oh yeah, maybe, I don't know. But I mean, at the end of the day, it made me think about how afraid generally
Yeah.
people are to speak up for things or to like say the wrong thing because they
Right.
don't want to be penalized for their social credit score, which is interesting.
And it's just people like you don't come into our lives very often, right? And I mean that in a way where someone that's searching or enlightened or on a journey trying to connect, we don't know how to handle that in normal everyday situations,
Yeah,
do we?
I
So
would
it's
I
very
would say,
sad.
speaking to what you're saying, I think that what makes it difficult is I wouldn't even say, I think enlightenment is when you have the ability to keep your heart open to the collective consciousness. And when I say collective consciousness, I say that in the sense of, we are so powerful and we affect every single thing around us. We are a cause to the effect of the universe. And to open your heart means you're sacrificing your individuality to participate in somebody else's suffering, whatever that might be, and whatever level and container that might take shape in. Because you could feel for somebody who's, impoverished and homeless, but you could also feel for your neighbor that is, going through a divorce, et cetera, et cetera. And how do you move through life and help people and also help yourself when you're suffering? It's such a, it's so complicated.
Well, that's what I was asking earlier. Like, do you get it back? Do you get enough of what you need? Because you're giving a lot. You're giving a lot through your music. I mean, that's so brave. I always say that to put your lyrics into music and then release them to the world. It's got to be so scary, and but also at the same time, you're so brave, and you're putting all of this out there. Are you getting it back enough to refill or replenish what you need to continue on searching? I'm going to go back to the story in the beginning of
Sure.
the seahorse. Everybody in Greek mythology, seahorses pulled Poseidon's chariots across the sea, and seahorses symbolized power and protection. And why do you think a seahorse appeared to you on that particular day?
Oh, the magic of serendipity. I cannot possibly explain the mystery of life to you, but I know that I know that whatever force in this universe, whatever force of good that propelled that to take shape in my life for me to happenstance upon. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I think that's the spirit of the child. The child is ever ever surprised at everything, and to remain naive in a way. So do I get it back? Absolutely. I mean, being alive is a gift enough. I don't have to give real love. I don't really believe that you need to be, necessarily replenished, even though sometimes we do get drained and tired. Um, the earth endlessly gives and endlessly gives and endlessly gives and doesn't necessarily ask for anything back. I think she deserves more respect. But the reciprocity for me comes through these otherworldly experiences that I don't know if I was closed off. I don't know that I would have access to. I think that it's given because I get to be alive another day, that I get to even have the privilege to smile or to laugh or
Yeah.
to feel anything at all. It's such a beautiful world.
Mhm. I hope you always keep that. I hope you, as you get older, and that's the struggle. I think is people pull from you. They want more. They take more from you, and to keep replenishing or looking for the positive, to stay where you are, to remain who you are, becomes harder and harder. And I just love the idea. When Angel asks you, "What do you need?" How did you respond to him?
I honestly was like, I don't really speak any Spanish. I don't know what is going on, but I trust you. Take me, show me things, like teach me what you want to teach me. And we went to the shamans in the mountains and sat in ceremony, and I experienced, dragons emerging from fires, and saw shamans that did mystical things like move matter with trees, and like impossible things that I always really felt were possible. One of my favorite stories is Alice in Wonderland. And, in that story, she says, or her father used to say to her, that she used to think of 6 impossible things before breakfast. And one of my spiritual practices in my life used to be to write down these crazy, impossible things. And, to think that Poseidon's chariot took me to Mexico to experience revelation, to transcend normality, and to experience the impossible was like, this is a miracle. This is what we're here for. We're here to be free and to be alive. And now it has new meaning.
Did
That
you ever
story.
doubt that trust? That did you ever
Uh,
doubt, what am I doing? Like halfway over the Pacific on the way, I left this great environment that I loved. What am I doing? Or no?
I think so. I think I just really had so much trust. I mean, that is when I ended up being in Mexico. I learned some music from there as well. I learned that was where I opened my heart enough to be able to play and sing at the same time. And when I did that, I was just like, I don't really want anything else. I want to feel God in my heart. I want to feel my connection to the universe. And I would busk in the streets and like sing my heart out and just like, this is what I want to do. I'm, I'm free. So
Is
this
that
is
where
what
your
I'm going to
music?
be.
Yeah, yeah. Is that that's so busking in the streets. I mean, there's bravery right there. Did your musical identity manifest through those travels, through those experiences in Mexico? Is that what you're saying? It's really where it kind of took hold and you came to terms with your musical talent and what you wanted to do with it, the messages that you wanted to tell.
Well, I can remember actually the first moment that I finally had the synapses connected, the neurons in the brain and the body were working. I was singing and playing the ukulele in the middle of the street in Mexico, and someone was taking a video of me, and it ended up being one of the accompaniment from Bob Marley and the Wailers, and he was like, I can just see it, like, you're gonna be big someday, sweetie, like, and he gave me a hug, and I was like, what just happened, you know? And synchronicity happens that way, and it's a flicker of inspiration that makes you want to keep going, that makes you want to uncover more and discover more and be surprised and just keep going through whatever you're experiencing, because that dream is worth it. And uh, I wrote Heaven actually in Mexico. That was where I wrote that song when I was living there. It was so I've never seen anything. I've never seen anything more beautiful or experienced more peace in my life.
We opened the show with Heaven.
Oh, nice.
And
Nice.
that was the very first song we played.
Nice.
So listeners
Perfect.
to find it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I'm getting a pretty strong idea of who you are, but and your life, what matters to you. But what do you believe in? And what is your vision for the world through your music?
Joy. This album is a piece of my soul. It is one collection of many to come in the future. I have been through so much, and I want to empower people to find peace and find joy despite whatever trauma or suffering that they might be going through. The world is a very brutal, difficult place, and we can get lost in the noise and the distractions uh, of of turbulence. And for me, I mean, some of my biggest inspiration has been in music, and listening to music is the one thing that got me through the toughest moments in life. Listening to music has been, you know, I listen to music when I'm going to work. I listen to music and sing when I'm at work. I listen to music when I'm working out. I listen to music for everything in all the sorts of moods. And so, if music is the one place that we get to tell our stories, and it lives, you know, in our subconscious, you know, these things, you can remember lyrics from so many different songs. It's like a catalog of our consciousness and of time. And if this is going to be when I'm living life, then I'm going to live it to my fullest, and I'm going to share everything that's coming out of my soul. And I'll leave this earth whenever I leave it, hopefully inspire somebody to be more free and to choose to chase the impossible things.
Yeah. For all that you believe in, what does success look like for you and in terms of a music career?
That's a good question. I made a list of some of the most beautiful theaters that I have ever seen in the world, and they are artifacts for me. A lot of my artistic personality is of future and of past. And musically speaking, I want to go and I want to tour all over the world. I want to meet people from all over the world, and I want to share the love that's in my heart, and inspire people to pursue understanding and compassion for others, to pursue the limitlessness that they are, and to live a more eco-centric life, one that isn't, you know, polluting our planet, one that is living in reciprocity, to take care of your neighbor, all the things that, you know, I really care about and that I want to spread. I want for the world to be gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I really just want the world to be a beautiful place to live in.
How do you know if you've succeeded?
When when okay, so Joseph Campbell talks a lot. Joseph Campbell is definitely somebody that I've listened to talk a lot and heard from. And he talks a lot about the garden of life. And it is a biblical reference in a way, but that novelty of being a kid, losing the innocence, is when we leave the garden and we enter into the quote unquote world of sin. But you can return to the garden. The garden is in your mind. The garden is in how we take care of our life force, of what is giving to us. And we can't do that if we aren't taking care of the earth. So success for me looks like speaking on some of the biggest stages and spreading this message so that the world is green again. The world is living through an awakening and experiencing an alternate reality that is possible. I mean, defying gravity, you know?
All right, so let's talk about your new EP.
Yeah.
Again, congratulations on the EP. This is your debut. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. It's called Remedy. And I know that you've traveled the world. You've probably got 1,000 stories you could tell me, and I'd love to hear all of them at one point. I think it's really fascinating what you've been through and what you've discovered. But you wrote songs as you traveled, hundreds of songs. How did you choose which songs were going to be the very first songs that represented you and bared your soul to the world? Did you have like a process, or was there a criteria, or what happened? How do they meet? How do they make the album? How did you choose these songs?
That's a really good question. As any artist knows, it's all about the budget. You know, that's a very necessary, important factor to consider. I only had so much money, but it's not just about the money. Heaven was like, I need to put out Heaven. That's just undeniable. And I wrote Butterfly probably a week and a half before I finally got the opportunity to work with this producer. And that became important for me because I felt like I was emerging as
Was it
my
Butterfly?
innermost self. And I wanted to represent that in the album and create sort of a spread of things. In addition to money, which also is an anthem piece for me, I wrote that while on an adventure in Montana, and you know, that song took me to 13 different states and brought me, which we'll have to talk about this a little bit, but brought me on the stage at Coachella. I literally I got on the stage at Coachella, was about to plug in my guitar, had my guitar in hand, was like plugging into the amplifier, and they're like, whoa, who are you? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm playing my song. I'm gonna change the world, man. They're like, you're not changing this. Get off. That is going on.
you, you just jumped up there. You weren't invited.
Well, this is a funny thing that happened while I was traveling. I was in the airport and I was sitting in a chair. I needed a phone charger. Someone came up and sat down next to me. I was like, hey, can I use your phone charger? My phone's gonna die. And he's like, who are you? The next Joni Mitchell? I was like, no. I can never be Joni Mitchell, but I make music. And he obviously just, saw my aura and my soul. And he gave me the phone charger and he's like, I am a manager and I've managed, some pretty famous artists, and I definitely feel your energy. We exchanged information, talked for a little while, and he gave me free tickets to Coachella, free VIP tickets. So I get home from the airport, I take my car, my little Subaru that literally leaked oil all over the place, and the oil pan is like every 50 miles to like put it in again. Drove myself 13 hours through the desert of Utah and Nevada to get to Palm Springs, to arrive and park next to all the big black sedans and the big caravans. And I'm pulling up in this little Subaru that's from 1992. And I'm parked there. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. I got to play my music. And I get through so many layers of security with the VIP pass thing. I'm like, yeah, I'm playing with this band. And I get up, get behind. I'm like, oh, I'm storming the stage. I got a message. I got to share this. But yeah, that song needed to be on the album after that experience. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I
We
can't
gotta
not put this on the
we gotta get you on Coachella. I hope somebody out there listening is you need to be invited back.
Yeah, honestly, they might have changed the security policies after me.
After
That
you.
was like,
That's great.
that was
What a great
yeah,
story. God, you have so many
yeah.
good stories. What are you hoping the listeners will take from this EP? What's it say about you? Is it you in a in a
It is a
personal
piece of
sense?
me.
Yeah.
I hope that listeners listen to this, hear it, and are inspired by, you know, you can be authentic, is what I would say. That whoever you are, whoever you were born to be, go find that. Seek out the experiences that inspire you to be yourself, and don't give up until you find those people, until you find those places, and never settle for anything.
Good advice. I love that advice. Okay, we are almost out of time, unfortunately,
Oh,
Abby. This has been
Jeremiah, I didn't even get to, I'm so excited here. I'm like, just so happy to be on the show. Thank you for inviting
yeah,
me.
I'm so happy you've got so many good stories. Is there something you want to tell me about that we haven't brought up yet? I know we haven't talked much about the album, but I'm playing it throughout the show here, and I want you all to go to Abby's social media and follow her or buy the album. You got to support Abbey Castor, singer-songwriter activist. The EP is Remedy. You can get her you can get that at distrokid.com and then hyper follow Abbey Castor /Remedy. She's on Instagram at Dreaming with Abby. What a perfect handle. abbycastor.com is her website. So Abby, anybody you want to thank that you work with on the album? Anybody you want to
Oh my gosh.
shout out?
Honestly, I would love to thank Omer for helping me produce the album. I would love to thank Rob Schwartz for helping me in every possible way to make it happen, to overcome the challenges of making an album. I want to thank my mother, my father, Megan and Rob, because they birthed me into this world and have supported in me and believed in me.
Does your mom think you're normal yet?
She
Back to
has,
normal?
she's fine. She's gonna listen to this and she's gonna be like, Abby, you can't say this on the radio. You can't tell people about it. But I think it's important because I love her and she's
What's
finally starting to
normal?
see things from my perspective. She's like, oh,
There you go.
she's actually doing it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you are.
Love you, mom and dad. And thank you so much for having me on the show. I am so grateful for this opportunity to speak with all these really beautiful human beings that might be listening. You can go visit my YouTube channel, watch the music videos that I put out. I am going to be putting out my Two Timing Man music video here in the next month in October, which is going to be exciting.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that one's a lot of fun.
Broke my heart.
Yeah. Well, obviously you need to come back and because there are many more stories to tell and your philosophy and your outlook on life, we all need to hear and hear more of. I agree with you totally. It's been a lot of fun talking to you this hour. So Abbey Castor, my special guest today, she, as you can tell, is spirited. She's bright. She's passionate. She's seeking to reach the world with her mindset and her music. Remedy, which was just released on September 2nd, is her first EP album and a debut to the world as an artist And I think you're going to take the music scene by storm. It's now available to stream on all platforms. And again, you can visit Abbey Castor at Instagram. It's at Dreaming with Abbey, or visit the website or YouTube channel. And she's got a whole lot of other social media you can get to on abbycastor.com. Here, we're going to take you to break right now with Shoot Me Like a Star. Really, really great song. It's our featured song, and we're going to play it in its entirety, debut here on the show, on the Jeremiah Show. Abby, thank you so much for your time and for your music, and congratulations again on the EP. It's really great.
Thank you so much. So nice to be here.
Okay.
Yay.
Yay. Listen more and evolve. Everybody have a great day. And go listen to Abbey Castor.